China is interested in things like cyber warfare, electronic warfare. It loves its AI, of course, artificial intelligence. It's excellent at space. It loves space. Quantum technology, autonomous systems. China is massively into mass-producing drones as well. And this is where the future wars will increasingly be decided, I think, not by one brilliant weapon system, not at all, but by thousands of cheap ones, just like we've seen in Ukraine. We've learnt that a £500 drone, £500 drone, can destroy equipment worth just millions and millions of pounds. Now, China has watched, like you and I, every minute of that war, and they can be absolutely certain, well, we can be certain that they've taken notes on it. I mean, I have, So imagine thousands, tens of thousands of coordinated, that's the key, coordinated autonomous drones from the air, from the sea, from the land, all networked together, all chatting towards each other. How you doing, mate? All right, you at that target, I have this target.
大家好，这里是华人看世界 CNView 频道。中国究竟是被西方夸大的威胁，还是已经悄然改变全球格局的现实力量？本期内容，我们从一段整齐到令人震撼的中国军队队列开始，看一名前军事教官如何解读纪律、标准与战斗力之间的关系。中国拥有庞大的现役和预备役力量，全球规模最大的海军之一，以及持续扩张的造船、航空和导弹体系。更值得警惕的是，这些力量并不是孤立存在的，它们还与人工智能、无人机、网络战、电子战和工业产能彼此连接。面对台湾问题，中国未必急于发动一场传统登陆战，而可能通过经济压力、军事演习、网络攻击和封锁行动，让对手逐渐失去抵抗的信心。与此同时，中国正在非洲和全球供应链中扩大影响力。面对这样一个同时拥有军力、科技、制造业与长期战略耐心的国家，西方还在用过去的方式数坦克比战机吗？真正的变化或许才刚刚开始。
All right, guys, look, China isn't coming, it's already here. Look at this then. This is perfect timing right now. This is absolutely perfect spacing. These are thousands of soldiers, and they're just moving as one. Now, in the West, people will laugh at this. My friends laugh at this. They call it propaganda, right? They call it theatre. We know how it goes, right? They just call it brainwashing. Look, you're being brainwashed, Tim. I don't, because if you spent your life in the military, like I have, on the walls back here, you know exactly what you're looking at here. You're looking at discipline, mate. And discipline wins wars. Not every war, and it doesn't win every battle. We all know that, right? But over the years, over many, many decades, discipline will beat chaos. It beats complacency, and of course, it beats arrogance, which the West have a lot of right now. And that's exactly why I think so many people are underestimating China. Now, before I tell you about me being an RF instructor and what these things on the wall are and all that kind of stuff, I sent these things to a mate of mine who's in the British Special Forces, and he said this is the most terrifying thing he's seen because he understands exactly what that means. Now, when I was an RF instructor, I'm sure you realise that we didn't spend hours making students stand in formation just because it looked nice, not at all. We did it because standards become habits, the habits that we need. Those habits become behaviours. Behaviours become culture, of course. It's one of those things, isn't it? And culture, as you'll see in a minute, determines the performance that we get out of our students. See, the military that obsesses over tiny details usually obsesses over the big ones too. That's why we all do it. Now, does that automatically mean that China is unbeatable? Well, no, of course it's not, mate. Of course it's not. It's not. Absolutely not. And that's what I'm saying. It's not unbeatable, not at all. But dismissing China because they march well, you know what I mean? That's just stupidity. That's a really, really dangerous mistake, and one that we don't want to make. Let's look at some facts and figures. I've got them on a screen. Let's look at what China's actually built then, because I think this is the most important thing. It's not theory anymore, is it? This is reality. We can see these things. These things actually do exist. China has around 2 million active personnel. Stop you there. 2 million active personnel. And also, it's got another 500,000 who are purely in reserve. In the British military, we've got an army of about 75,000. I think in total, even with the reserves, we've got about 150,000. China has 2.5 million. This is what's so absolutely crazy about it. And it's also got a huge pool of trained manpower it can deploy as well, alongside that. It possesses the world's largest navy by the number of ships. It's got over 370 warships. I find that figure, as an ex-naval officer, just mad. Now, these are destroyers. All right, these are frigates. These are corvettes. These are warships, literally ships of war. Has amphibious assault ships. It's got nuclear submarines. It's got conventional submarines even. It's even got those, you know what I mean? And they aren't stopping. They're launching new ships at a rate that Western nations just struggle to match. We just can't do it. You know what I mean? We can't. We've tried, we can't. Some analysts estimate that Chinese shipyards produce more commercial tonnage in a single year. Like in 1 year, they produce more in China that many Western countries can build in a decade. We're starting to see what this means now. Yeah? All right, so you've got to think about that. Those same shipyards can build warships. The Chinese Air Force, I mean, together with naval aviation. I mean, this is the thing. That fields well over 3,000 military aircraft, modern fighters, bombers, airborne early warning aircraft. This is it, electronic warfare platforms as well. Jam the enemy's radars and their communication, tankers to refuel them, transport aircraft to get all the troops somewhere. And increasingly, and this is the bit that you've got to be concerned about, stealth aircraft. Now, the J-20 isn't a prototype aircraft anymore. It's actually entering service in significant numbers. This is mental. And meanwhile, they're testing 6th generation concepts out there. They are catching up like you read about, mate. They're testing 6th generation while they're still producing 5th generation fighters. That is industrial capacity like we don't see in the West. And you've also got something called the Rocket Force, which I think sounds kind of cool. These are thousands of ballistic missiles. These are cruise missiles. These are hypersonic weapons, and you can't shoot those things down, mate. Not possible. Anti-ship missiles designed specifically to keep American carrier groups far away from which country? Taiwan. This isn't random procurement. They're not just phoning up people like BAE Systems, can I have a new ship, mate? They're not. It's a carefully designed system. That's what they're doing. And every capability supports another capability. That's the whole point. But every weapon they develop has a purpose. And then, we're going further. We can do that. The Army. So the Army's got about 970,000 active ground. About 1 million. Should you say million? Why not? Modern armour. Yeah? Modern armour. Self-propelled artillery, long-range rocket systems. It's got air defence. It's got attack helicopters in the Army. They've got, mechanised infantry in the Army. I mean, it is massive. It might not be perfect right now, but these guys are learning year after year. And that's something that we have to talk about a lot. But what else do we need to really talk about? I mentioned it once already, and that is Taiwan. Because that's where all this is heading, really, is Taiwan. China's been crystal clear with it. All right, for a very, very long time. It regards Taiwan as part of China. And it doesn't think that's going to eventually happen. It says it's going to happen now because President Xi Jinping has repeatedly stated that reunification cannot be postponed indefinitely. So what happens? What does that mean? Does China launch an invasion tomorrow over Taiwan? Well, that's probably not going to happen. Let's be realistic, guys. It's not going to happen because amphibious invasions, as we all know, are among probably the hardest military operations ever to be attempted. They're a nightmare for many reasons. Like Normandy was difficult, we know that, right? And the Falkland landings, of course, were crazy hard as well. So Taiwan would be vastly harder for many reasons. It's hugely mountainous terrain. They've got defences that they've dug in for decades, very limited beaches which to land on. And American intervention remains a distinct possibility as well. America will intervene, of course, we know that. China knows it as well. Let's be fair, China knows it. Which is why they're preparing all these other options first. And this is the really interesting thing that I don't think people really understand. China's very interested in putting on economic pressure, massive political pressure, cyber attacks. Yeah, we're familiar with those. Blockades. It's genius at disinformation. All right, or what we call grey zone operations. Constant military exercises. They're constantly learning how to work with each other. They don't necessarily want to destroy Taiwan either. That's the whole point. They want Taiwan to conclude that resistance has become impossible. I mean, the size differences are just massive. And that's a very different strategy, the one that most people are talking to you about. And this is where I think personally many Western commentators, of which I guess I am one now, are still fighting the last wars because everyone loves counting tanks and we love it in the UK as well. We're going to build a Challenger 3, check us out, Challenger 2, you know what I mean? And irrespective of all the drones in Ukraine, we love building tanks and we love building new fighter jets In fact, when I left the BAE project, I left it because they couldn't work out whether they were going to have an autonomous aeroplane or whether they were going to put someone like me in it. And I was like, well, that's just going to be empty space in the cockpit then if you do a bit of both. They were going to do both, you know what I mean? But China is thinking much broadly than that. China is interested in things like cyber warfare, electronic warfare. It loves its AI, of course, artificial intelligence. It's excellent at space. It loves space. Quantum technology, autonomous systems. China is massively into mass-producing drones as well. And this is where the future wars will increasingly be decided, I think, not by one brilliant weapon system, not at all, but by thousands of cheap ones, just like we've seen in Ukraine. We've learnt that a £500 drone, £500 drone, can destroy equipment worth just millions and millions of pounds. Now, China has watched, like you and I, every minute of that war, and they can be absolutely certain, well, we can be certain that they've taken notes on it. I mean, I have, you know. So imagine thousands, tens of thousands of coordinated, that's the key, coordinated autonomous drones from the air, from the sea, from the land, all networked together, all chatting towards each other. How you doing, mate? All right, you at that target, I have this target. And they're all supported by artificial intelligence as well. That's the thing. I mean, that is the future battlefield. I mean, I know it, and if I know it, and China most definitely knows it, and they're investing accordingly. I mean, they're investing a massive amount in this, guys. They know what's going on. But then there's cyber as well. And most people think of hackers as teenagers in hoodies in the basement, you know what I mean, typing away. But it's not. This is state cyber capability. This is something completely different. This is sponsored at the highest levels. So imagine attacking another country, right? You haven't got to fire a single shot anymore. It's not even, you don't need to. You can attack the power stations. You can attack the ports, the banks even. I mean, railways. You can shut down railways, communication networks. Yeah, satellites. You can do that. Mess around with a little bit of air traffic control, military logistics, anything like that, right? Because if you can paralyze or even seemingly pretend to paralyze all of those systems.
看完这段来自前军人的分析，真正值得我们记住的，恐怕并不是中国士兵队列走得有多整齐，也不只是中国拥有多少军舰、战机和导弹，而是整齐队列背后所代表的一套体系、标准、纪律、训练、执行，以及把这些要求长期贯彻到底的组织能力。队列本身不会决定一场战争的胜负，但一个连细节都不愿放过的军队，往往也不会在装备建设、后勤保障、战略规划和临战协同上轻易敷衍。这也是本期内容最核心的提醒。面对一个正在快速崛起的国家，最危险的反应不是担忧，而是轻视。把一切都简单归结为宣传，把整齐的训练看成表演，把规模庞大的工业体系看成没有意义的数字，确实可以让人暂时获得心理上的优越感，却无法改变现实本身。中国已经拥有数量庞大的现役和预备役力量，拥有规模巨大的海军、空军、陆军，也拥有持续造舰、生产军用飞机和发展远程打击武器的工业基础。这些能力未必意味着它不可战胜，但至少说明任何国家都不能再用过去的眼光去判断今天的中国。更重要的是，这些军事能力并不是彼此孤立的清单，舰船背后是造船工业，战机背后是材料、发动机，电子设备和供应链，远程导弹背后是侦察、定位、通信和指挥系统。而所有这些能力最终都需要经济实力、科技实力和组织效率来支撑。真正需要关注的从来不是某一件武器是否先进，而是一个国家能不能把不同领域的能力连接起来，让海上力量、空中力量、陆地部队、网络系统、太空资产和无人平台形成一个相互支撑的整体。因此，未来的战争很可能不再只是传统意义上的军队对阵，网络攻击可以影响电力、港口、银行、铁路和通信，电子战可以干扰雷达、卫星和指挥链，自主系统和人工智能则可能把大量低成本无人机连接成一个复杂网络。战场上的优势未必来自一件昂贵而耀眼的超级武器，也可能来自成千上万件能够快速生产、彼此协同、持续消耗对手的廉价装备。乌克兰战场已经让全世界看到，低成本无人机同样可以威胁高价值目标。这种变化正在重新定义军事投入、战场防护和战争成本。谈到台湾问题，也必须避免把复杂的战略竞争简单理解成明天是否会发生登陆作战。两栖进攻本身就是最艰难的军事行动之一，台湾的地形、防御体系、可登陆区域， 以及外部力量可能采取的行动，都会让这场冲突面临极高风险。正因为如此，真正需要观察的可能是军事演习、经济压力、政治影响、网络行动、舆论操控和封锁能力如何逐步结合。所谓灰色地带竞争，往往并不以一声巨响开始，而是在长期施压中改变对手的判断，让对方逐渐怀疑抵抗的代价，最终影响其选择。这也意味着判断一场战略竞争不能只盯着坦克数量、战机型号和军舰吨位，工业产能、关键矿产、能源供应、芯片技术、港口铁路、电信网络，甚至一个国家在海外建设的基础设施和长期合同，都可能成为影响力的一部分。当工程师、贷款、发电站、机场、通信设施和矿产项目遍布不同地区时，军事力量之外的依赖关系也在不断形成。有人把它称为投资，有人把它称为债务外交，但不论采用哪一种说法，结果都值得重视。一个国家如果在贸易、制造、能源和基础设施上越来越不可替代，它的国际影响力就不会只体现在军装和武器上。当然，承认中国取得的成就，并不等于忽略它面对的问题。人口老龄化、经济增速放缓、房地产困境、地方债务压力以及军队实战经验不足，都是必须认真面对的限制因素。中国也不可能自动获得每一场竞争的胜利，庞大的规模更不等于完美无缺。真正理性的判断应当同时看到它的优势和弱点，既不神化也不贬低。只有这样，讨论才不会变成情绪宣泄，而能够回到战略、制度和长期能力的层面。反过来看，西方国家更需要警惕的，也许不是某一次装备更新落后，而是长期停留在过去的成功经验里。过去几十年的优势不能保证未来几十年仍然有效。大国会崛起，也会停滞，会积累优势，也会因为自满和内耗而失去优势。历史从来不会因为一个国家曾经强大就承诺它永远强大。真正的问题不是中国是否已经不可阻挡，而是其他国家是否还愿意承认环境已经改变，是否愿意重新建设工业能力，完善供应链，投入基础研究，并且用更长远的眼光制定国防和国家战略。所以，当我们再次看到那种整齐划一的队列时，不妨少一点嘲笑，多一点思考。它提醒我们的不是某个国家必然胜利，而是纪律一旦被投入教育、工业、科技、军事和政府治理之中，就可能逐渐转化为长期竞争力。未来世界的较量，或许不是谁拥有最响亮的口号，而是谁能够把目标坚持下去，把资源组织起来，把技术真正转化为生产力和执行力。世界正在进入一个更加复杂、更加不确定的阶段。真正值得担心的不是变化本身，而是在变化已经发生之后，仍然拒绝承认变化。希望这期内容能让我们在看待中国、看待西方，也看待未来战争时，多一份冷静，少一份傲慢。多一些事实判断，少一些先入为主。欢迎大家在评论区留下你的看法，谈谈你认为未来国际竞争最关键的领域是什么，也欢迎持续关注后续的军事与国际局势分析。喜欢这期内容的话，别忘了点赞、订阅、分享给更多关心世界变化的朋友。